Hello, everyone. Today I'm here with Chuy Rodriguez, who's making his pro debut this weekend at LFA240 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. How's it going, Chuy? How's camp? And you know, what are you excited? Are you nervous? What's going on?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, man. I appreciate you having me on. Yeah. I'm honest. I'm being entirely honest. I'm excited. I'm happy that for this opportunity I'm getting. If I'm being entirely honest, I was telling my teammates, we did a Shark Tank this past weekend. But we recently got a new area for our gym, and we rebranded, and now it's named Gorilla MMA. So we call them Gorilla Pits instead
Hmm.
of Shark Tanks now. And so we did basically a whole a whole 3 5 minute rounds. Each minute, I got a fresh person. I'm not gonna lie, I was more concerned about that than I was this fight. Not that that's not to knock my opponent or anything. It's just I train with some dogs, train with some technical people
Hmm.
who really like to put it on you when they're trying to push you. So yeah, I'm excited for this. The fun part is gonna be Friday. Right now I'm
Hmm.
focused on making weight. Camp was great. Camp has been going really well.
Hmm.
Um, Honestly, I feel like I've had to train a little bit more. I mean, yeah, but camp is good. I'm feeling good. Weight's coming
Hmm.
down nicely.
So this wasn't technically supposed to be your like actual pro debut. You were scheduled to fight at Aries Fight Series for Sergio Martinez in March 27th this year for your pro debut. So talk me through that.
Oh, oh
Was it
yeah,
your
man.
fault? Was it his fault? How was that fight canceled? And so you've kind of been in camp a little bit longer, if you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's man. That's funny. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's cool. Wow, you do your research. I appreciate that. So yeah, I was really looking forward to that fight too, because again, like I was hoping I'd be able to get quite a few knocked off, and quite a few
Hmm.
bouts, professional bouts under my belt this year. But with Sergio, I wouldn't say it was either my fault or his, because like the week of our scheduled fight. He ended up getting in a car accident,
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if he waited a couple days before notifying somebody, but he had notified the promoter, and I think he had a few teeth missing from the car accident. He had gotten hit. Thank God he was okay. He got hit by a semi truck though,
Hmm.
and he had a few sore spots. So like I could totally understand I want to go into a fight after having to deal with something like that. He is okay. I think he's healing up fine. I will say, um, it was a weird feeling having that bout canceled, because I'd
Hmm.
put the time into getting ready, and I was like, dude, this is gonna be it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And then I got the message, right? And as soon as I read that, like, I don't know, it made me kind of emotional because it's like, dude, it was like a weird like grief, you
Hmm.
know. And then but it's okay because I'm gonna be honest. I think it all worked out for the best. God set me up for something better because now I'm making my pro debut on LFA. Now I love Aries. I'm loyal to Aries, but if
Hmm.
we're all being completely honest, LFA is a great promotion. You
Yeah,
know, it's gonna be the biggest fight that I have had so far. So I was really
100%.
excited about that. Um, I was told that they were trying to reach out to him to try to get him onto this LFA card to fight me there. I think that he's probably got his own things going on, so he didn't want
Yeah,
to go with that. So I ended up getting Jared Gonzalez. So yeah, and that's how we're here now.
nice. So yeah, talking about Aries Fight Series, you've had pretty much your entire career there except for one fight.
Yeah.
Um, so let's go back to that first fight in 2023, your first amateur fight. You win via guillotine choke in just 2 minutes. Walk me through the Chewy then. Like why did you get into the sport? What made you want to start competing? And just yeah, talk about that.
Oh yeah, man. So well, growing up, like I feel like this was just always going to be a part of my life, like MMA, fighting, combat sports in general. When I was growing up, my parents they would buy and like I was born in '98, so like MMA was just getting into a more niche category to where, but getting that
Hmm.
bit of like, they had affliction, they had tap out, all of that. Spike TV deal with UFC.
Nice.
My parents got the King of the Cage DVDs and stuff, and we would watch those. Uh, it was back when UFC was on Spike TV. We would watch those at home, and then like, um, my mom grew up in some tough spots of the country from East Coast to West Coast. So like, fighting wasn't anything new to her. And like, she had a thing that was like, yeah, like don't be a bully, but like also don't let anybody walk over you
Hmm.
and try to take care of others. But then like also like when me and my buddies would get in fights, my buddies were like my brothers. If we would get in arguments and stuff, they'd be like, hey, put on the boxing gloves, go handle it or hug it out. You
Hmm.
guys deal with that. And then like my dad used to take me to boxing classes every now and again. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough to like pique my interest and I was like, oh, okay, cool, I really like this. And then seventh grade, because I did sports like almost all my life, pretty much all my life. Sixth grade was the only year I didn't do anything. And then my dad convinced me seventh grade. He was like, no, you're gonna wrestle. And it was pretty much telling me I didn't want to wear the singlet. I'm being honest, man. And then, but after you put it on, after you get out there, you don't pay too much attention to it.
Hmm.
Um, that my first year in seventh grade, I just got hungry for it. I got hungry for it. I was like, dude, this is what I want to do. I like this. I like this. I will admit I was losing everything in the training room that year. But I would keep going back. I kept going back to the varsity guy. I would to the point where I was pissing them off. They were getting so annoyed with me going back until the end of the year was them having to come to me and be like, "No, let's go again." And because I was like, I had put so much work in, so much effort.
Hmm.
I was finally um, getting on the varsity team. I was finally the one getting them trying to get better and trying to come to me and me beating them. I was really excited about it. And then I went seventh through 12th grade. I wrestled. Here and there, I would do a little striking. Here and there, I do a little jujitsu. And then after high school was like the only thing I really had was okay, I'm gonna go to jujitsu. I went and I did jujitsu for a couple of years on and off. It's kind of hard when you're trying to work. And then at the time, I was trying to go to school, so trying to pay for that was a little difficult. But then I got introduced to my first actual MMA gym because my I went to a fight. I went to a fight night. There was a local and at the time, I was going. Agogi was really big in the scene on regional MMA, and me and my buddy we went to go watch some fights. And my old wrestling high school coach, he was there, and he introduced me to them. And then I went and I got the 1 week free trial, and that set me up with them, and that got me in with them. And I was like, yeah, no, this is what I want. So then I really got into jujitsu and the like Muay Thai, kickboxing, and then it eventually progressed to okay, we're finally doing MMA. And it's just I think that it was just always going to be a thing. And here we are. I've been training for the past like 4 or 5 years now, I think. Yeah. And then we got that first fight, thankfully, maybe a little later than we would have wanted, but that's okay. The Chewy then with that first round guillotine, then I was just let me latch onto some jujitsu. I got comfortable with doing jujitsu. I think I had that guy in a guillotine for about a minute and 30 seconds of that 2 minute fight.
Hmm. It's
And then
funny.
I'm not gonna lie about that fight. I got kind of bugged because the commentary team, one of them on there said that I got taken down, but I had swept the guy. I got a foot sweep and then fall into guard with a guillotine.
Hmm.
And dude, wow, I didn't know that the guy was asleep until the ref dragged him off of me. And I was like, shout out to that guy though because he had quite a few fights. Most of the people I've gone against, if not everyone, have had more fights
Hmm.
uh, than me, and
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. That's great. Um, it's nice to test yourself, especially at least in my opinion, but like through in a reasonable way. I don't want to like outmatch myself too much, but yeah, no, the difference between Chewy then and Chewy now, I am a much more complete striker and a much more
Hmm.
complete fighter, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Then it's like again, like with my second fight and it's the only loss I've had.
Yeah.
Um, in my second fight, I was too. Granted, I was going through a tough time. Outside of being able to train and do this and that, your personal life can affect you. But again, I don't want to use that as an excuse. I focused too much on the jujitsu, and
Hmm.
I tried to use that too much, and I got caught up in that. So, but in the first fight, I got the guillotine. I got the win. Technical submission. And the second one, I should have stuck to a more top pressure. I should have stuck to more striking. But as I've progressed and evolved, I feel like I have the best striking that I ever had. I
Hmm.
feel like I've got the best grappling that I've ever had. I feel a lot more well-rounded. Like I I just feel better. I feel like every day I'm getting better. Every day I'm getting, even if it's half of a percent better, I'm feeling good.
Hmm. Yeah, so after that first loss, you're on a 3 fight win streak at the moment, including winning the belt at Blue Collar Fight Club back in July of last year. But two of the three wins are by TKO. Um, just talking through a little bit about that first TKO win versus who was it? Versus Brandon Stinson,
Yeah.
and just getting the first knockout of your career, getting the first TKO of your career, and what changed from then.
Shout out to Brandon Stinson, by the way. He was a really
Hmm.
cool dude. I talked to him after. He was a really chill guy. He was game um, in there. So I started using my knees more. I started using my length. That's why I'm really happy, especially going into the pros, that I'm able to use my elbows. Because I'm not gonna lie, in that second fight, there were a few times there where I really wanted to use my elbows, and I was like, "Ah, I can't throw it from here, crap." And I feel like
Hmm.
that would have been a bit of a game changer when I got into some dominant positions. But yeah, in that first TKO win against Brandon, um, I got to mixing it up. I used the strikes, I used my range to then get me into the clinch. And like the commentator said, my style is it's a little confusing to some people with me being a rangy guy but wanting to clinch. But it's just like I like having the ability to control somebody, get my shots off, and get back in. Sort of like Fluffy Hernandez's style. I liked his fight against Gregory Rodriguez this past weekend. I was really rooting for him, but he didn't get it. But anyways, yeah, I um I used those knees, man, and that was what really got me that. And it's so
Hmm.
funny, because we started clinching up, me and Brandon, and then I hear my mom, she's shouting to me, "Go back to the knees, go back to the knees. Oh, why'd you stop using them?" And then first knee I throw hits the
Hmm.
liver. It gets the reaction I need. I get the right hand off. Mouthpiece goes flying, and then I get on top before anything can get off, and then the TKO to unanswered strikes. And yeah, that was a surreal feeling for me.
Nice. So then moving on, you go to Blue Collar Fight Club, um, and you're the featured fight of the night. And for your first belt, you win by a split decision. Talk me through that fight a little bit. Was it actually that close, or what was that?
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned, was it actually that close? Because when I heard split decision, I'm not
Hmm.
gonna lie, I was a bit agitated. Like, don't get me wrong, like thank God I got the win. But when
Hmm.
I heard split decision, I was like, there's no way, dude. Also, shout out to him as well. We like Lil Soldier. He's a chill guy. He came out to come train with us a couple times. Um, but if I'm being entirely honest, I don't think it was a split decision. That was a weird one for me. That was the biggest adrenaline dump I'd ever had going into that fight, and I could tell at the start of the day after they had checked our vitals that, like, hey, something was off with me, because I have a really low resting heart rate. So that day when it was like higher, I was like, oh, something's not right here. So I gassed out a bit, but at the same time, I was constantly getting off my low kicks. I was constantly getting off my jab.
Hmm.
I almost finished him. It was either at the end of the first or sometime in the second. I almost finished him to due to strikes. I will say I did get a little heavy on the head hunting, which is something I'm not gonna be doing anymore. I literally the other day told my coach, I was like, hey, I start head hunting, I start getting a good finish. I need you to tell me. I need to go low. I need to remember to mix it up because
Yeah.
low kicks are my favorite thing. And in that fight, if you've seen it, you'll notice I got that low kick all the time, and I made sure to punish him with the low kick anytime he tried to get a jab off. And again, like I said, like you'll see me. I was up as soon as that 10-second bell rang every round after the first. I was up there. I was waiting. He was sitting on the stool. There is no way that was a split decision. I won that either 2-1 or 3-0, in my opinion. But yeah, the commentators were. Sometimes I think commentators like to talk about fights in a way to make it seem more interesting.
Hmm.
To make it seem like the fight is a lot less one-sided than it is. Granted, I will say he was getting his jab off. He had top control for about 3 seconds. But I was never in danger. I
Yeah.
was never in danger. So it kind of bugged me for split decision, but I was happy to get the win.
And then moving on to your final amateur fight, your most recent fight, you get another first round TKO back at Aries Fight Series in last year in November. Talk me through this fight, and then also what was it about this fight that made you want to go pro, or what was there something else in between?
Yeah, so with that last one, I feel like that last one really solidified it for me. Nashville MMA is supposed to be a really good gym, have some really good prospects coming out of
Mm.
there. I have an old teammate, his name is Brivin Sullivan. He was actually supposed to be fighting on this card with me in LFA this next week, but man, he
Oh,
he really likes to sling his hands and they break sometimes.
I did not realize that fight was canceled. Oh shoot.
Yeah, he broke his hand, man.
Oh
it sucks.
no.
Yeah,
That
it was
does
gonna be a
suck.
good one.
That
That was
was
gonna
a
be
good fight. 2-0 versus 3-0. I was
yeah.
actually really excited for that one. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, and Brivin's slick, man. He's a character. I will say that much.
Hmm.
But that character gives him a dog in the fight, and he's given his life to it. So props to him for that. Sucks I want to see that fight. But anyway, my Eduardo Ramirez, that's who he was training with now,
Hmm.
Nashville MMA. Um, he's supposed to be that's supposed to be a good camp. So I was like, okay, cool. And he's supposed to be a good fighter, a good test to see if like, okay, are you actually like decent? Are you actually worth some hype or anything?
Hmm.
And I only really got to see one of his fights prior, and so I based my game plan off of that video that I did get to see. And he came out, he was moving a lot better. He was looking a lot better than I had seen in the fight that I had watched, in the aforementioned fight that had watched. So I had to switch up the game plan a little bit on that because I thought I was going to be the one moving around, dancing around, using my movement
Hmm.
to get some shots off, and then he ended up being the one using a lot of lateral movement. So I switched it up. I was like, okay, we're just going to slow him down, walk him down. It worked out. I didn't get like any damage that fight. I used the knees. I went to the clinch. I got my strikes off. I felt like everything was flowing, everything was well. Um, got the finish on the feet. He wasn't completely out. Something that really stood out to me too was like after I caught him with the right hook as he was trying to exit. Um, his nose started bleeding, and I don't know if that was like one of the first times he had actually noticed, like, oh man, like something's happening. But I
Hmm.
wasn't about that was one of those times where I was like, okay, I can't focus on the face. I'm not gonna go head hunting. So I
Hmm.
used his attention to his nose and the damage to the face to go for the teep, which then led to the switch stance, left hand, to then walking him down and then just continuing to pour on the pressure, which is something that I look forward to doing in the rest of my fights.
Hmm.
Granted, like I said, I'm gonna have to switch up whatever I have to do, and that's something I pride myself in is being on the outside when I need to be on the outside, being on the inside when I need to be on the inside, or switching it up. And that got me the finish. And after that, I was like, okay, I think it's real now. I'm training with really good people. I have two teammates that have gone to the UFC. The Torres Finney is out there training with Daniel Cormier now.
Nice.
Trevor Peak is gonna come back
Yeah.
from his layoff due to injuries, and he's about to put it on this Campbell guy, and we're gonna see. It's
Matchup.
gonna be
Yeah.
good, man. It's
Yeah.
gonna be good. So just all those things, and again, like Carter Beekman, I've helped him
Yeah.
with getting ready for LFA twice now, and I thought it was time. Like I know it's only been 5 fights. I was four
Yeah.
and one, but I was like, it's time, man. I can build myself as a pro, just make smart matchups and still keep learning on the job.
Hmm. Yeah. So obviously making your pro debut finally after, the canceled bout. And you get to do it at home. And I think I said it was LFA was in Chattanooga. I think I was just reading where you're from, but obviously LFA Clarksville,
Yeah.
returning to Clarksville. But like when how did you find out you were gonna get to fight for LFA? How did that come of? And then like getting to fight for LFA in your hometown, not hometown, but home
But
state. What is that
goodbye,
like?
yeah. So, dude, I think it's awesome. I literally, it was like another day, where it was kind of felt like I was in limbo after that. Not gonna lie, I took a little bit off, put on some more weight, got
Mhm.
back up to my walk around weight and stuff. And I was still training, but not as consistent. But I was hoping something would come up. And like I said, dude, I knew that it was gonna bring something better. I knew like God was setting me to the side so I could have this opportunity, right? And that's just
Mhm.
how I've been seeing it. Is this has just been more time for me to hone my skills, to add my tools, put more things in my bag to be able to whip out when I need to. And I'm just ecstatic, bro. I'm so ecstatic, and I'm comfortable with that arena now. That's another thing. Clarksville, I've been there with Carter Beekman for two fights now. I've spent a lot of time in that stadium
Mhm.
watching people, watching potential opponents, watching other hometown people, and I I'm ready to go in there and I want to make a statement, I'm ready to go in there and make a statement, and I'm excited. But the thing is, I'm going to stay humble, I'm going to stay humble and know that I have a guy in front of me who's going to be gritty and is there to who is there to put a run on for himself.
Yeah, obviously, you know, a 6-6 amateur in Jared Gonzalez, but it's not like he's fought bums. Um, coming off of losses to Liam Hamill, Manny Falcon Santos, who I'm not too sure about, but and then Sean Cluball,
Yeah.
three pretty decently good amateur guys, and then now Liam Hamill didn't have the best amateur record, but now has a pretty decent um, pro record, and even just headline CFFC.
Yeah.
But his losses aren't the worst. Again, like Quentin Richards, Jerry Ariella, but so he's a bit of a deceiving record type guy. He's got some kickboxing fights in there, but like, what's the game plan for him? And maybe just not taking him too lightly and taking him pretty seriously.
I'm not. Here's my
Yeah.
thing. Here's my thing. I don't take anybody lightly. And I think as soon as you start taking people lightly, you end up doing yourself a disservice and you cheat yourself.
Mm,
And I think that in this sport, uh, and just as well as in life, you need to respect everyone. Everybody's got something to offer. Everybody's got something, especially in this game, that's going to give you a problem. And with him, I know for sure. Like I said, he's going to be gritty. He's going to be tough.
mm,
I think he's Mexican, and you know what they say about having those freaking chins, man. Those
mm-hmm.
chins, bro. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, and that's okay with me though, because that just means I have to make my shot selection. I have to use pressure. I have to use volume, and
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure when this interview is going to come out, but my game plan is my game plan is to be smart, use my movement, use my pressure, um, use use my pressure to get counters. I was watching this video the other day dissecting. I think it was Bivol's fight against against Beterbiev or something, and how people consider him a counter striker, but really like he'll pressure to get people to strike back, and then he'll counter off of that. And I'm just thinking that's going to be a good thing for me. Watching out for his takedowns because he does like to. He looks to be a striker to me, but
Mm,
he's not scared to go to the ground, and he's not scared to initiate the grappling either. And I'm cool with that. If I'm being entirely honest, I like grappling. I love grappling. But my whole thing is, if I'm not going to get the takedown easy, I'm not going to waste my energy.
yeah.
I'll use it to switch something else up. So with this game plan, keeping it on the outside until until I get him pressured up,
Mm-hmm.
using the cage to my advantage, um, cutting him off. I'm not gonna be following him. I'm gonna cut
Mm-hmm.
off. I'm gonna move around, and just be smart. And I'm not gonna take anything for granted. And I think that man can bang. I think he can hit. So I'm gonna make sure to stay out of the way of his straight shots.
Yeah.
I know he's a kicker, so I know that too. Hey, guard's gonna be ready. I'm not gonna be playing any of this Enza Chikuwu BS, getting slimed out by the blob himself. Playing his hands down game, got chin, sat down right on his face. I'm not gonna be doing that. That's not who
Yeah.
I am. And it has its time and its place to be a showman, but I think it's better to respect your opponent and
Yeah.
stay game. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Nice. So yeah, come this Friday, you'll be fighting, in your home. For a big promotion like LFA, just like what are your last like thoughts about that and just like, getting to start your career like this, like what does that mean for you?
Dude, I'm just grateful. Like this is a great start for me, and like in that, I'm just gonna mention like thank God, man, because
Hmm.
in that amateur title fight, I I had a conversation with myself after that adrenaline dump. I was in the middle of the fight. I was like, do I really? Is this who I want to be? Is this what I want to do? it was like I was talking to myself and I was talking to God. We sat there, we had a conversation, and was like, yeah, this
Mhm.
is what I want to do. I don't care how tired I am. I don't care how horrible I feel right now. This is what I want. We're gonna get it. We're gonna go for it. And then it's just like I feel like it's led up to this, right? And it's him showing me like, hey, if I put in the work, I'm gonna get it because this is something that's gonna allow me to be able to be a part of other people's lives, to inspire other people, be there for other people, and this is gonna get me to achieve something that is just means so much to me because the discipline that comes
Mhm.
and like just the work ethic that comes with pursuing this career, just it pushes you forward in so many ways in life. So I'm excited to be doing this. I'm thankful to have this opportunity. Thank you, LFA, and I thank you, man, for having me on here.
Yeah, of
Like
course.
you seem really dope. You seem very knowledgeable about the things. You seem to actually care, and that's something that's really important to me. And like it seems like you put in the time into what you do. And if something slips up, you're gonna freaking make sure that we still get it going. And I appreciate you,
Yeah.
man. And I
Yeah.
really do hope to see more of you, to hear
Mm.
more from you, man. And
Thank you.
I appreciate you having me on.
Well, in that same sense, before we wrap up, some one fun question, and then I'll let you get to some sponsors and shout outs. But do you have a nickname? And is there a story behind it?
Yeah, yeah. So for the longest time, man, I really wanted somebody else to come up with my nickname.
Okay.
I was like, oh, I wanted to be natural or whatever, this, that, and the other. But then
Mhm.
the things that people would come up with, it's like, it'd be like something cheeky or something. I'm just like, yeah, like a buddy of mine said, was like, oh, hot rod. I'm like, yeah, but like that's not. I feel like that doesn't really, that's not me. And then other people were like, Latino Heat, like like WWE, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Or like El Guapo, like you know, and I'm just like, yeah, those things are cool, but it's like, dude, like, you know, I've had enough of like people thinking I'm like prissy or this, that, and the other because I like to do my nails, I like to color my hair sometimes,
Mhm.
a lot of people think I look pretty or whatever, but it's like that's just a part of it. And I chose it for myself because I think it's indicative of what you're getting into if you
Mhm.
step into the cage with me. My nickname is the Marauder.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
and lo- look for it on my mouthpiece. Yeah, you'll see it on the
Okay,
mouthpiece.
nice.
Yeah,
Nice. All right. And then before we leave, any sponsors or just like teammates you want to shout out,
yeah, man.
family? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I just want to say, like, shout out to my parents for always giving me like they're always on one side it's hey you got to work hard, you got to do this, you got to do that.
Mhm.
The other side is like I love you, you could do what you want, like I believe in you, you're smart, you're strong, do your thing. And then just putting themselves out there and putting themselves on the chopping block sometimes so that I'm able to pursue things and do things that I need and that I want. And then just like my family, man, my siblings come to everything. They're my biggest supporters. A lot of it I do because of them. And like when I go in there, like I'm thinking about them and I'm like, I want them to know like you can do the things that you set your mind to.
Mhm.
Do not put yourself smaller than you need to be. You are not small. You are not small. You can do big things. You can do the things you want to do. And I just thank them for giving me that inspiration. And then for my sponsors, shout out to Electric Sunshine. It's a band buddy of mine I used to work with. He makes a lot of music. He's his own band. He does like everything, man. You can look
Nice.
him out. He just released a link. It's called Electric Jubilee on Spotify. It's like 20 something songs, man. And it's his debut album. Um, Also shout out to Kettner Branch. You're gonna be seeing they have my banner. I'm gonna be having my corners hold it
Nice.
over. I'll show my sponsors, and then also shout out, man, the guys who keep me inked up. Railside Tattoo, bro. I love them. They're awesome,
Okay.
high quality. I always go to them. You're never gonna be disappointed going to them. It's in Dalton, Georgia. Like I serious man. Like they're a cool bunch of people. Um, the atmosphere is great. Like literally, last tattoo I got, you're gonna see the cathedral on my back. It's from my dad's hometown in Mexico.
Nice.
Um, yeah, dude, I got pizza during my tattoo. That was so nice. It was so dope. But yeah, shout out to them, Kettner Branch, Railside, Electric Sunshine, and then shout out to my coaches, man. Nicky Peppers is the assistant coach. He's dope. He's always there. He's a crazy man. Chat Lavender, our new head coach, feels like he's been there forever now. He's great. Shout out to Carter. man, he's giving me like hard rounds.
Hmm.
And me and him, we can talk to each other all the time. Shout out to Zane Burton, the Sandman. He'll be coming back. He's a big blue collar dude. He's a dark horse, man. He'll be shout out to Sturdy. Keeps me freaking honest in the striking. And then just to like my high level amateur buddies, they're just they listen. They're all family. They're all brothers. I know I'm missing people, but shout out to all of them. They give me great work. They listen. They help me to grow. They help me. I coach some classes, and they help me with that too. Like them, the newer members and stuff. Just shout out Gorilla MMA and shout out to my family and shout out to you. Honestly, man, I really
Thank you.
appreciate you. Yeah.
All right, awesome.